So you say you can't draw. Well, here's my theory. Do you wish you could draw, but you just weren't born with that natural talent? Well, I have a secret for you. Neither was I. I was not born with any natural talent. Neither was anyone else. What happened was, when I was little, I liked to draw. That was what I enjoyed doing. And so I drew all the time. And because I drew every day, eventually I was going to get better. I didn't come out of the womb knowing how to draw basic shapes, how to draw a perfect circle, or how to break objects down into simple shapes. I didn't come out of the womb knowing that stuff. I didn't come out of the womb knowing that red and yellow make orange. I didn't come out of the womb knowing any of that. I just did art over and over and over again. And well, I took art classes in high school, so that was where I learned some basic concepts. Just the fact that I kept drawing over and over and over again and painting meant that eventually I was going to get better at it. You can't do something over and over and over again and never get better at all. You might think that you're not getting better, but when you look back on stuff you did a few years ago, you will see a difference. I look back on stuff that I did years ago and I see a huge difference, even though I'm not actively trying to learn anything new. Just the fact that I keep drawing over and over again means that eventually I'm just going to kind of pick up on those things that I did that look better than how I drew other ways. And I'm just going to naturally tend towards doing those things. Also, when I first started painting, which was about 10 years ago, I couldn't paint thin lines or steady lines at all, but I would just still keep trying, and then I would always have to fix it, and then I would keep trying and I'd have to fix it. And then it didn't happen all at once. It was like all of a sudden one day I was like, oh yeah, I remember back when it was hard for me to do lines, and it's not anymore. And it just kind of gradually happened and I didn't even realize it. The same thing with blending. I used to really struggle with that in the beginning, and I just, I kept painting and I kept just trying to blend, and at one point I was like, I remember when I had a hard time with that, and somehow I just don't anymore. Because the more you do it, the better you will get at it. There's an article, and I'll link to it in the comments. In the article, it describes two kids that both like to color and draw. One of the kids gets a ton of positive feedback from the adults in his life, and everyone saying, this kid has talent, this kid has talent. And so it builds that kid up, and the kid keeps drawing every day, has confidence in his abilities. And since he keeps drawing every day, he gets better and better. And then there's this other kid that doesn't get that positive feedback. And maybe people even say, well, you just weren't born with the talent. You're just not good at drawing. So he just quits drawing and does something else like sports. Well, the kid that was encouraged grows up to be an artist because he thinks, I'm naturally talented. But if that other kid would have gotten all of that positive feedback, then the same thing would have happened with that other kid. He would have drawn every day, and he would have gotten amazing and probably would have been a really great artist. I wholeheartedly agree with the article that I'm going to link down below, that we are all born with an artist inside of us, and some of us were encouraged to let that artist out, and then some weren't. And I've talked to so many people that say, I can't even draw a stick figure, blah, blah, blah. And when you really get down to it and talk to them about it, most of those people will tell you that when they were young, their art teacher told them that they couldn't draw, or their art teacher gave them a C or a D or an F. I just hate that. It just makes me so sad, because art is art. It's just being creative. You can't really get a wrong grade in it. The fact that the art teacher discouraged those kids just makes me really sad. And a lot of times that will cause people to just give up on art at a very young age, and they don't develop those skills. Other artists did, and we were encouraged. Also, I have a good example of this, because I will say I'm not good at sports. I hate sports. I'm not good at sports. I'm not coordinated, but it's actually a lie, because I really don't enjoy sports. I don't like it, so I don't want to play it. But if I did, I would be able to get good at it. And this is how I know, because I have always been kind of interested in tennis. When I was really young and my brother and my dad played tennis together, I always had to be the gopher and I had to run and get the ball, and that wasn't very fun. But I always wanted to like actually play. And when I lived in California, like 10 years ago, I had a friend, Nick, who was very good at tennis, and we would go play tennis together. And obviously, at first, like, I couldn't even aim the ball right, and it would always go the wrong way. And then he told me, pay attention to, like, the rotation of your wrist, that's really important, and, like, where the ball hits the net thing on the racket, or whatever it is. So then I started really paying attention to it, and after I did it over and over and over again, I finally was able to actually hit the ball in the right direction. That is a perfect example of how I could easily just say I can't do it and just figure that I don't have talent, whereas Nick does have talent. But instead, if I actually want to get better at it, and I really do play and like pay attention to the things that he tells me to get better, I could play. That is what I mean about art, and the more you do it, the better you'll get at it. So if you think you can't draw, it's not true. You're lying to yourself. And people are lying to you if they tell you that you can't draw. I know I'll probably get a bunch of comments of people that are like, I really can't, I really can't. Well, I don't believe you until you spend years drawing and doing tutorials. And there's so many good tutorials online. There's Bardo Brush, Genevieve. There's so many good tutorials that are just so much fun to follow too. Like, it's really just a fun activity to do anyways. You really should just take the time to go through and do some of these tutorials, and you will get better. I'll link to some of my favorite ones down below. One more thing. If you say, I can draw by looking at something and drawing, but I can't draw from my head. That's what everyone does. When I was little, I would draw Bart Simpson and Garfield, and I would look at them and draw them. Eventually, you can look at something in front of you and draw it. You're not going to come up with something out of your head that you don't even know what it looks like. Maybe if you've looked at your cat a million times because your cat is amazing, then you could draw your cat from memory. But if it's something like a raccoon that you're not looking at all the time, then you're probably going to have to look at some reference photos. That's totally normal. That does not mean that you can't draw. Artists use reference photos all the time. And if you want to do, like, say, a cartoon raccoon, and you can't think of how to kind of cartoonize the raccoon, you can look at how other people do it and kind of pick out the pieces that you like and make it your own. That's what art is. I don't want to hear people saying, I can't draw anything from my head, because that doesn't matter. You don't have to draw everything from your head. You have to look at references anyways to draw. So that's totally normal, and we all do it. In summary, if you have been thinking of illustrating a children's book or creating digital assets to sell, drawing your own things for the Cricut, then do it. Don't let anything stop you. That's all for my little rant on drawing and talent. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I hope I at least helped to encourage you a little bit if you think that you can't draw. And feel free to share this video with someone who maybe thinks that they can't draw, and you want to give them a little bit of encouragement. Thanks so much for watching my video. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe so I know to make more videos like this. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.